Good morning. This is breakfast today. The same thing as yesterday. It's a spinach feta sausage, chicken sausage sandwich with the keto 90-second bread, an egg, slice of cheese, and Hellman's mayonnaise. I'm almost out of the Hellman's mayonnaise, so after I'm out, I'll go back to the avocado stuff.
Hey guys, how's it going? Um, Today's been a pretty good day. I think I forgot to take a video of my lunch. It was the Factor 75 beef. It was like a cheddar beef, and I think it was actually a beef queso, they called it. The queso wasn't too cheesy. It was, I don't know what the base of it was. It's kind of bland, but I don't know. I added sour cream to it, and it had a side of rice. It was like a Spanish rice. So the entire meal wasn't too bad. But I had that, and then I actually received my last shipment of Factor 75 today. 7 meals. So it should last me until next week, I think. So after that box is finished, then I'll be cooking again, cooking my meals, or meal. Well, probably meals. I'll probably meal prep breakfast also, I think. Just makes it easier. So food wise today was pretty good. I just wanted to, something that's been on my mind lately, and if any of you have input, then I'd love to hear it. But if you've ever heard of insulin resistance, so when you eat sugar, when you eat carbs or sugar, I believe it's the liver that converts that into glucose. So glucose, sugar in your blood, that has to be put into a cell, and the chemical that does that, or hormone, is insulin. So your pancreas creates insulin, and it tells your body to remove glucose from your blood and store it. So when you have, when you have too much glucose, when you eat too much sugar, your body has to produce more insulin to remove that. So that means your pancreas has to create more insulin, and then your body, because there's this influx of insulin, it just becomes resistant. It's harder for your body to remove the glucose from your blood because there's just an overabundance of it. So that's when you get diabetes, and then you have to take the injection of insulin to chemically help remove that glucose from your blood. So that's the idea of insulin resistance. All the systems in our body, obviously I'm no scientist or whatever you want to call it, but I've read that all the systems in our body want or maintain homeostasis, which means balance. So, for example, if there's too much sugar in your blood, then your body has to remove that in order to keep this average baseline. So it just got me thinking. This past week, I've been kind of depressed, and then also dealing with the palpitations, not getting enough sleep. I know my lack of sleep affects me, and so it wasn't a surprise. I've had a lot more cravings for bad food. It's really been probably the primary issue. Because surprisingly, I feel like I did really well this past week. I went to the gym, I think it was at least 3 times. Went to the gym 3 times. I didn't do too much cardio because of the palpitations, but I did do weight resistance training, which is my goal. Switch hands here. So even though I have kind of been depressed and dealing with the health stuff, I still feel really good about how much I've accomplished this past week. Yesterday was difficult for me because of the palpitations, and I think maybe I think the day before that I didn't get proper sleep, so I was having more cravings. I didn't show it on video last night because I just felt guilty about it, but I got Taco Bell after I ate that Factor 75 meal. I don't know why I was craving it, but I was craving it, so I went and got it. I had 2 gorditas and the new Cheez-It Crunch, Cheez-It Tostada. It was actually, Taco Bell for me is usually hit or miss, but that was a hit. It was pretty good. But, so I had that. But, yeah, I didn't show it because I felt guilty, but now it's, considering what I've been dealing with, I guess I understand why I gave in to it. But, so the reason why I brought up insulin resistance and homeostasis is because I feel like for all of my life, most likely, a large majority of my life, I've used food. It's like we've all heard of emotional eaters, but it's just I'm kind of becoming more aware of that exactly. Um, I've used food to, I've used food basically like a drug. So when my dopamines drop, I turn to, I turn to food to get a hit. I turn to food to make me feel happier. Um, this past week, I felt depressed, and I've realized that I have been turning to food. And it's just I was more aware this week of the actual moments of when I'm turning to food, and that just got me thinking about the dopamine, the reason why I'm using food to make me feel better. And I've used that throughout, like I said, throughout my life. I used it for many different reasons in my life. Um, so for me, I feel like it's food. For others, it could be literal drugs. It could be any sort of addiction people might have that they turn to for that hit of dopamine. Um, like I said, the body and all of its systems, it wants homeostasis. So even with dopamine, it's like if we have this constant influx of dopamine, there has to be, at least in my reasoning, my logic, there has to be something that brings dopamine down also. Because you can't always have a high dopamine. And I feel like that's probably when people get addicted with something, that's kind of what's happening. It's they're always going to this thing that they're addicted to get that rush, and eventually their dopamine is just so high, so they have to do it more and more to feel the effects of dopamine. It's like there's never a down moment. So your body's not in homeostasis. I think I think in the book that I was reading, that's what was talking about this. But as far as the center, not the center, but the part of your brain that's responsible for the feeling of dopamine, also is responsible for the feeling of pain. So it's like the opposite of happiness is pain. I don't know if pain is the correct word. Like, I'm not saying you should cause literal pain to yourself, but more along the lines of we need to work. We have to work more to appreciate more. It's like years ago when we didn't have a supermarket that we could drive to, or we didn't have Uber Eats that we could just pull up on our cell phones and have food delivered to us. I mean, nowadays we don't have to leave our house. We could literally stay indoors 24/7 for as long as we probably wanted to. There's people that do that. You see my 600-pound life. These people who are overweight and are bedbound. Of course, usually they have some sort of enabler helping them, but there's actually people. I watch a Hungry Fat Chick on YouTube. She's a mukbanger. She might pay someone to come help her, but typically all the food that she eats, she's getting from Uber Eats. Um, so like years ago, we had to actually hunt for our food, if our ancestors went and shot a deer in the forest, they'd have to physically carry it back. They'd have to drag it somehow or carry it somehow. And I was thinking, like, when they shot the animal, cleaned it, and then prepared a meal and ate that meal with their family, I'm sure that caused. I'm sure there was definitely a dopamine response and like that sense of accomplishment. Like, look what I just did. I went out, killed this animal, and now we're all benefiting from it. Sorry, and this gimbal is a little awkward to use. But I just feel like years ago there was more of a balance of dopamine and pain. Pain's not the right word. I don't know if you want to call it stress or work, but there's more of a balance. Whereas nowadays we don't have that balance. Nowadays food is plentiful. It's over plentiful. Drugs. We don't have to do anything physically if we don't want to. It's like the things that we had to do years ago, the things humans had to do, we don't have to do anymore. We could just stay on the couch all our lives if we wanted to. So it's like the things that people had to do, now it's our option to do. It's like we have to literally choose to give up food. Back when it was hard to find fruit, it's like now we have all this fruit that was, most of it's man-made and optimized to be sweeter and stay fresh longer. It's like we have all of this availability now, and there's like really no work that we have to do for this. Um, so I think that's probably a part of why I'm sure you've heard of the loneliness epidemic that's happening across the world. It's really bad in Japan. I think that has something to do with it. It's the fact that some people don't want to do manual work. They just, maybe they want to work at home. Maybe they choose to just avoid social interaction, which, humans weren't designed that way. We're designed to have social interaction. We're designed to be active and work for the things to keep us alive, whereas now we don't have to do that. So I think, and this change has came upon the human race very quickly too. So our bodies it's like a shock to our systems, and it's definitely a shock. Myself and future generations, we've grown up with this overabundance of sugar and carbs, and our parents didn't really know any better of the effects or the repercussions of raising someone on a diet like that. But I think people are finding out now that you have to be much more aware of what you're eating. It's so easy, as we all know, the cost of fast food and sugar is so cheap. It's just so much easier to order fast food or eat something bad. If you're on, I forget what they call it, like financial assistance from the government, very easy they pump you full of sugar and bad food. I think they also provide healthier foods, but healthier always seems to be more expensive. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm more aware of it. I feel like this past week, even though I dealt with some health stuff and was dealing with depression, I was still good in the gym, and I'll say, decent with diet. But I do realize that there's been a shift in my mentality, at least, and I think that's a good thing. So, as I've talked about before, I think that's half the battle of just realizing your habits and realizing things that you want to change. So, if you can comment toward the theory of dopamine and it being out of balance, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. Um, On a different topic, Universal Studios, someone at Universal Studios announced that the new theme park, Epic Universe, which is why I started this Epic Weight Loss channel, because I want to lose weight and be able to fit into the theme park rides, is going to open earlier than expected. It was scheduled to open summer of next year, whereas now they announced it should be early next year. So I'm excited about that. But then that got me thinking, it's like, okay, I have to get serious about losing this weight now. Before that theme park opens, I would like to weigh, I think 270 is the max that I was in the past, to where I could ride a roller coaster. I think the Hulk I went on around 270. So when that park opens, I would like to weigh 260. So that's a 55-pound loss from where I'm at right now. So I definitely have to be more strict with the intermittent fasting. And after reading that, well, I'm not done with the book Outlive yet, but they talked about working out in a level 2, which is basically doing cardio, and level 2 helps you burn fat. I know that I don't believe in cardio or working out to burn fat, but according to this person, it is optimal to burn fat. I think ultimately I'll do more cardio and working out just to build my cardiovascular system, my VO2 max, which is like your oxygen level in your body. I think for longevity and health, you need to work on your oxygen levels, so that's important to me. Besides just losing fat, you definitely want to be healthy as you're losing weight. So cardio is just, obviously it's a very good thing to do, not just to lose fat, and I'm sure it'll help in weight loss. But I like to be more consistent with doing cardio, and of course being more consistent with weight training. So those are just some things I need to focus on to hit my goal of 260 by the time this theme park opens. So I know, I'm excited. That announcement was pretty cool, and I think it's a good motivator for me to get back on track. That's all of this, the palpitations I've been having just has thrown me off. So I think now I've completely stopped vitamin D, and today I've been a lot better. Because last night I couldn't sleep. I did sleep, but it was hard to fall asleep. So I'm just gonna stop the vitamin D for now, and maybe I'll try to take one tablet of a 2000 international unit and see how I feel. But yeah, the heart palpitations, I do not like those at all. It's just, I can't concentrate on anything when I have those. So hopefully they're done with now. But all right, this is probably a little bit longer than I expected. I'm going to have to do some more stuff in the house, and then I'll probably head to the gym to do some cardio, I think. So talk to y'all later. So I got my workout in. I did in 1 hour on the elliptical. Burned about 800 calories. It was almost 800 calories, like 792 or something like that. Felt pretty good. What's today? Tuesday, last week. Just with the palpitations. I was trying to do cardio, but the palpitations would get worse. I wasn't doing cardio. I had a few today, but definitely not as bad. So I pushed through it. Got it done. So I'm going to take a shower, and I don't know what I'll do afterwards. But this will be the last video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.